Okay, so everyone, the streaming for the session has started, and so will the session start now. Continuing with our topic for today, which is revision for quiz one, right? So I'll be sharing my screen to you all, and we'll go through the topics one by one. Starting from week one, we had variables, right? I believe everyone is clear with what variables are. Let me pop this meet out. Okay. So everyone should be clear with what variables are. These are containers for values, right? We can put multiple types of values in any variable in Python, and we can name it anything, making sure that whatever we are naming the variable is not a keyword in Python, and 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 it should not start with a number. So going to the Python interpreter, I'll just show you. We know that for loops are there, right? So wait, one second. Can for be exactly? So since for is a loop, right? For is used to initiate loops. For is not a valid name for a variable. Okay, and same goes for, let's say, zero underscore var name, right? If I set this to 10, this is not variable. This is not valid variable name itself because it's starting from 0. So variables, the name should be alphabetical. They can be alphanumeric, and they can include an underscore as well, but they cannot start with a number, and they cannot be keywords. Now moving forward, another thing, they are dynamically typed, so any value, any type of value is possible. And if, for example, I set t to true, then I can, in future, I can go ahead and change this to something else. I can change this to a student. T can be 10.3 then as well. Now moving to the input function, the input function is used to take input from the user. So we create a program, we say I is input, and then you press enter. Okay, like this. So I is input, then the program will take an input from the user, and that input will be stored in the variable as a string. Keep in mind, it will be a string. So if I do 0 and then I check what I is, so I input 0, but I is now a string. So if we want it, making another thing sure that if we want an integer input, then we have to convert it into int. So let's say my input is equal to integer of input. So then we'll be able to take an integer input. Okay. Up until here, no doubts, right, people?
No, sir.
Okay. So moving ahead, if you have any doubt, just put it in the chat. Okay. I'll get a ping. I'll respond to a doubt at any point. Okay, at any point. Now the type function, right? These are concepts from week one currently. So the type function is used to get the type of any variable or any value, right? Let's say if I do type of 1.1, this will return me the class float. Okay, good. If I do type of 10, it will return me an integer. Yeah. What if I do, let's say, type, let's say if I have a function, right? We have a print function, right? Print hello. What does this do? This gives an output, right? This, does the print function return anything? That's the question. Does the print function return anything?
And then type.
Exactly. So this was a question in your GS or PS as well. Checking this, if I just go to the type of the print function, so copying this and pasting it right here. will get none type. Why this happens? Because the print function isn't actually returning anything, it's just sending an output to the user. It's not actually returning anything. And for the functions which do not return any value, they are, so the type in the value which they return, that's called the none type. So keep in mind the print function doesn't return anything. We can do typecasting, familiar with it, right? A is an integer, right? So A, if you do integer 10.1, you will get the integer part only, exactly converting 10.1 to 10. And float of 10, then you will get a decimal point. Converting it to a string, exactly this. Booleans, okay, Booleans are a bit thing to keep in mind. So, for example, if we have bool of any integer, let's say 10, it will evaluate to true. Fine. 9 evaluates to true. What about 0?
false,
0 will be false, right? Now, what about negative values?
true,
Correct. So, uh, Boolean for integers is only negative when, so it's only false when we have 0. So we can say that 0 is the only falsy integer, except that if you put any integer into the bool function, you will get, be it negative, be it positive. If it's not 0, then the boolean of that integer is always true. Okay, so negative number, the boolean of those is also true. Moving to the strings, then in case of strings, difference between return and print. So return is something which, okay, good question. I'll just show you right here. So I have this right here. If I create a function, I I hope everyone is familiar with functions by now. So
yes,
define my func, right? A comma B, right? Takes A comma B and simple. I can do two things, right? I can do return A plus B, and then I can do the next thing, which is my func2, and the same thing, A comma B, and I can print A plus B, right? Now the difference is that when we run, let's say def, so if we run my func2 of 1 comma 2, this, okay, my, then A plus B should be printed, so we should be return 3, right, in the output of our terminal. So if I run this, I get 3 as the output, right? Correct? This much you understand, because 3 is being printed. But instead of using my func2, if I just use my func, right, internally is doing the same calculation. The only difference being that this one is printing, this one is returning. And if I run this, I get no output, nothing at all. So print is something which sends the output to the user. Return, now notice another thing. What I can do with a returning function as well is that I can store its output. So if I do a result equals my func 1 comma 2, this is valid, but my func of 1 comma 2 is not actually valid. Reason being, this function does not return anything, and this function actually returns something. So if I go ahead and run this code, it will run fine. But if I try, okay, so let me just print it right here before it gets changed. Print result, and here I'll print result. Yeah, name is result2 and print result2. So if I run this now, let me name this as well. Give it some text so that it's clear. Uh, inside function. right, comma, and these two are the other operands, right? So if I run this, see what happens. 3 is first printed. So this one is coming from result. The value which was returned by my func1, it's being stored into result and it's being printed right here. So if I just rename it as, put a name line 11, right, comma, and line 13 right here. See, from line 11, we got 3 as the output. From inside function, we got 3, fine. And from line 13, we got none. So line 13 was printing result 2, correct? And result 2 is storing the value of my func2. Understood, right? Is this much clear? Okay, okay. So result 2 is storing the value of my func2, and when we are printing result 2 from line 13, we are getting none. Can you notice this? When we print result 2, which is from the output of my func2, we are getting none as the answer. Notice this. And when the code inside the function ran, because there was a print right here, so we got the 3, right? But this 3 wasn't passed into result 2. Even though result 2 is my func2, right? My func2 ran, but it didn't give anything to result 2, right? This function did not provide any value to result 2. It only printed, which we can see right here. So that's why when we try to print result 2, we get none. Instead, if you look at line 11, the code in line 11, result actually had a value because my func actually returns a value. So we cannot use the value result 2. On the other hand, we can use further. Yeah, exactly. So when result 1, so result, for example, which is being evaluated by my func, the value is actually available to be stored into a variable and it can be used further. Print just returns, so just gives the output to the user. It shows whatever is happening to the user and it forgets about it for further. So that's why we get none. I hope this is clear. Swati? Printing would only display something to the console, but yeah, exactly, Rishabh. So, okay, moving to the next topic, which is, what do we have? Right, arithmetic operators, right? Everyone is clear with arithmetic operators. Plus, minus, multiply, divide is clear to everyone. What we have here, this one, floor division, right? If any one of you forgot, then this one is used to get the integer part of the whole answer. So let's say we do 11 divided by 2. The answer is 5.5. That's the whole answer. But let's say we only want the integer part, right? We'll just do we'll do 11 floor division 2. So that will return an integer value and only the integer part of the actual division. Okay. Modulus is the remainder, right? So in cases like this where the number is not perfectly divisible, we get a remainder. So if you want that remainder, then you use the modulo operator 11 modulo 2. You get the remainder as 1. Exponentiation is the power, right? Everyone knows about this. Moving ahead to, so if you want 2 squared, right? You can just do 2 to the 2 exponentiation 2. Right. Relational operators. Okay. Greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, smaller than, equal to, equals, and not equals. So this will give these all the relational operators, they will give you a true or false answer, okay, depending if the condition satisfies or not. The logical operators and, or, and not, they are used to basically combine the results of two statements, two Boolean values. So let's say I have let's say if I do if 10 modulo 2 equals 0, print hello. So this will give me the value true, right? Because when you compare these, then that's true, fine. But if we have some other part, some other code which we want to, some other value which we want to be satisfied right here, so instead of using two ifs, we can just go ahead and put an and condition here. And just as it sounds, it's basically a simple English and. Both the conditions, or however many conditions you put with using and, it makes sure that everything is true, then only it will return true. So if we say 11% 2, right, 11 modulo 2 equals 0, and I then print same thing, hello, this will not give anything because these two conditions are not true, right? This is false, only this is true. So this gives us in a false, and if false does not print. Getting her bit or, right, returns false if both LHS and IHS are false. So in the case of or, if it finds any true value, it will evaluate everything to true. Not is used to reverse any Boolean value. So if I do not true, it will be false, and if I do not false, it will be true. That's the basic use of not. So if you ever want the opposite of something, let's say you want to pick the odd numbers. If you, so for I in range 10, if I, if we want the odd numbers, right? So if odd, if number, if I is not divisible by 2, then we want it to be printed, right? Because those are the odd numbers. So what I'll say, if not of I modulo 2 equals 0, print I. So in this case, what will happen? This will evaluate to, for example, if we have I equals 0 right now, this will evaluate to true, and not of this expression will evaluate to false. So 0 will not be printed. Same goes for 2, 4, 6, 8. So they won't be printed because this condition for them evaluates for as true, making the not of true equals false. And the other cases, example 1, 3, 5, and 7 and 9 up until 10, right? They are being printed because this evaluates as true. Sorry, this evaluates for them as false. Not of false becomes true. So the if passes, and then we have it printed. Strings are a data type to store alphabetical things, alphanumeric characters, right, and special characters as well. And data types, right? They are data type. There are two, or you could say, you could also argue there are four ways to define a string. So if we, let's say, have s equals any combination of letters, alphabets, numbers, we have s equals hello. Okay, so we can use the single quotes, fine. We can use the double quotes, that's fine as well. If we want a string of multiple lines, uh, we can use
Triple
triple
quotes.
quotes. Exactly. So, and those triple quotes can too be either single ones or double ones. So if I want something like hello, enter my, enter name, enter is, enter Python. So I can either do three quotes and do hello, then I can press an enter, then I can then write my name is Python, and then I can close the three quotes, and then if I try to print s, I'll get it in that order, which I'll get it in the way which I printed. So multiple lines are allowed with using triple quotes, and same thing can be done using double quotes as triple quotes. So three double quotes as well. Hello, my name is, and then close. And if I print s, same thing, same output. Okay. So four ways to declare strings: single quotes, double quotes, triple single quotes, and triple double quotes. We can slice the strings, right? So how slicing works? We can take a part of a string however we want. So let's say if we have s equals a b c d e. So how slicing works, if let's say you want, first thing first, the format of slicing, right? Quick revision: s, a string, then we have the two square brackets, and then we have the start index from where you want the slice, we have the end index, and then we have the step counter. So how Python works is it will take from the start index up until the end index, and you can define how many steps you need to take each time. So if we, for example, let's say s was a b c d e. So if I want, let's say, a b c and d, so I will do this: s equals a b c d e f g h I j. Okay, fine. If I want the first four, so I'll do s of 0 to 4. So what will happen? It will, so when I do 0 to 4, when I do 0 to 4, I get these indices 0, 1, 2, and 3. So remember, it starts from the start index, fine, but it stops at the end index minus 1. Okay. So if you put n here, then it will stop at the n minus 1th position. Okay. 4 will not be included. N is not included. N minus 1th index is included. So if I do this, I'll get 0 position 0a, 1b, 2c, and 3d, and that's what I get. Now let's say I only want b and d, or let's say I want a and c only. Okay, I want a and c, meaning I need to skip one, right? uh, Going right here, I want a and c. So we are skipping one, meaning we are skipping b, meaning taking two steps, right? So that's the our number of steps. That's how it's defined. uh, Skipping one means two steps, skipping two means 1, 2, and 3 steps, right? So that's how it's going to work. So if I put, let's say, 2 in place of the steps, right, another colon, and I place 2, so I get a and c. The steps can be negative as well, right? If I put, let's say, negative steps, currently it won't work. For the steps to be negative, means you are going in the other direction, right? When you go from Where's the string ABC? Draw that. So when we go from right to left, we use the positive steps. But when we go from, sorry, I spoke in the reverse order. So when we go from the left to right, we use a positive step, which we just did. If we want to go from right to left, what we do is we use a negative step, and we start the index from the last part. We start the index from the in the reverse order as well. So an example, let's say I want DCBA. I want to print DCBA. This won't work. Even though it's taking from the 0th position to the 4th position and our index is negative, this won't work. We will need to specify that go from the 4th position to the 0th position. We'll need to specify that we need to start from the 4th position and go to the 0th position, and the step is the negative, and we have a negative step, so going in the reverse order. And again, I can even do -2 here, that's fine. -3 is fine as well. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And with string slicing, we get another perk. We can reverse a string. Let's say if my name is Kaustubh, right? So I'll do s equals Kaustubh, and I want to reverse that. So I'll do s colon colon -1. What this does, it takes from the start till the end. When you put nothing in a string slice, it means that is the start value. And if you put nothing in the second colon, then that means end value. And now I've specified that the steps are negative. So what I'll get is the reverse of my name, which is right here. This makes no sense. Now, the next topic which we have, comparison of strings is very easy. When you are comparing two strings, it will compare in the order of indices. So A will be compared to 0. If we get a result in such a way, then fine. Or else, if let's say both the first value or the first letters of both the strings, if they are the same, right, then it gives. So when they are the same, it moves on to the next letter, compares the next letter. So for example, here, when comparing these strings, first it compared A with O. Is A greater than O? If yes, then fine, but A is not greater than O. So this evaluated as false. Here A was the same as A, right? The first letters were the same. So we ended up comparing the second letters, and in the second letters we found out a conclusion that yes, P is greater than N, so we get 2. If for example we had an AP right here and AP right here as well, then we would have moved on to the third letter. Understood, everyone? So if I any examples? Okay, so there was a message. While using comparison operators, is it necessary to have same data types on both sides? Good question. And what I'll do, let's check. So doing A equals, so okay, hello greater than 10. Exactly. Not supported between instances of string and int. So yes, they actually need to be different data types. So they need to be the same data type for comparison. Understood? Or else we'll get an error. Now, string length. Okay, the len method, I think everyone right here is clear with what len is. Len tells us the length of the string, and it even works on lists. So if I have, let's say, len of hello,
Length, sir, length.
Exactly, it will give me 5 because hello has 5 letters. If I do len of, let's say, a list instead, a list of values 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6, I have 6 values in the list, so I'll get 6 as the answer. I can even use len on sets and tuples and even dictionaries. So if I have a dictionary, let's say 1 being mapped to okay and 2 being mapped to not okay, right? Because this dictionary had 2 pairs, right? One being, the first being 1 okay and the second being 2 not okay, so we get the length as 2. And same goes for sets and same goes for tuples. So length function is valid on sets, tuples, lists, strings, and dictionaries, all these 5 primitive data types. Now we have week 2. Okay, so week 1, any doubts, anyone?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any doubt, just put it in the chat. Now moving ahead, we have week 2 introduction. We were introduced to comments, right? Comments are the part of the code which is not executed, right? So these are just for the humans to read and understand the code. You can put a comment in your code as such by putting a hashtag. Yeah, Gaurav, it is actually a revision session for quiz 1, correct? So uh, getting back to comments, right? In our code, if we want to have something which we want the next developer to read, or something which we want for us, any piece of text which we don't want to be executed, we can just put inside a comment. Hello, my name is Kaustubh, and this is fine. If you want multiple lines of comments, then you can do like this, or what you can do is just put the triple quotes. And what will happen, to create multi-line strings, we were using triple quotes. To create multi-line comments as well, we can use the triple quotes. So I can do hello, my enter name, enter is enter Kaustubh. So this is a genuine actual working comment as well. And here again, we can use the triple double quotes as well, they work too. And this is not being evaluated as a string, this is still a comment because it's not in a variable. Moving ahead, dynamic typing. So as we all know, in Python, right, a data type, a variable does not have a fixed type, right? A variable does not have a fixed type. I can do a equals 10, and in next line I can even do a equals hello, completely valid. And in the next line itself, I can just reassign a equals 1 comma 2 comma 3. So Python does not care what I have in a, as long as it's a valid data type, it's fine. That is called dynamic typing. There's a diagram right here showing that when we create a string, then the variable points to that string hello, and then we reset. Then when we reassign the variable with another value, then what happens is that there's the pointer, right? Whatever message was pointing to hello, now it changes, and then message starts pointing to 10 itself. 10 which is stored somewhere in the computer, in the memory.
So it's after 10. In this case, 10 is the final value of
Yeah,
the message.
exactly, because 10 was assigned after hello.
Yes.
The latest value is used. uh, Multiple assignments, okay. So if we want, let's say, to do a equals 10 and b equals 10 and c equals 10, right? Instead of like writing it in multiple lines, we can just go ahead and say, see, currently if I do a b c, they are 10, right? If I want everything to have the same value, I can just do a equals b equals c equals 20. This is correct valid Python syntax, this works. And every value right here will be set to the rightmost value. So every variable will store their rightmost value, meaning A is 20, B is 20, C is 20. Now, a quick small question. Let's say I will delete A, comma B, comma C. I'll delete all the variables. All the variables are now gone. Okay, A, B, and C. Now, what if I set Z equals 20? Let's say if I set A equals B equals C equals Z equals 20. Fine. Everything will be 20. And if I do Z equals 30, A is still 20, B is still 20, C is still 20, and I do Z, it's 30, right? Now, if I do A equals B equals C equals Z, what should happen?
It will take the value of Z.
Okay. Why?
Last variable.
Exactly. So the last value. So whatever we have the last part, the rightmost part, the value of the rightmost part is then assigned to whatever is at the left. That's how Python works. Now if I go A, B, C, and D, sorry, there is nothing called D. We have Z. So A, B, C, Z, right? Z, Z. Everything is now 30. Okay. Now tuple assignment. Another thing. If we want to assign multiple different values, right? For different variables, we want different values. So if, let's say I want to create a string, a list, and a dictionary at once, right? So I want to create some string, right? And I want to create B as a list and C as a dictionary. Instead of writing that in 3 lines, I can just do A, comma B, comma C equals a string and a list and a dictionary. This is perfectly valid Python code. And let me give you a few iterations of this as well. So I can do A, comma B, comma C equals the same thing. This is valid as well. I can remove the braces from RHS. That's fine as well. And I can keep the braces on the RHS and remove them from the LHS itself. That is valid Python code also. So all these 4 lines, these are the same thing, okay, in Python. Understood, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All these work the same. So now when we are at tuple assignment, I'll go ahead and give you another tip or another thing about Python, right? What if we want to create a tuple? How do we create tuples? Let's say I want a tuple, right? If I have, let's say, A equals 10, 20. This is a tuple, right? Because it uses the small braces. Okay, I do enter. And now if I return A is 10, 20. What if I want to create a single value tuple? Right?
Forward comma.
Exactly. So if I do just this now, what will happen? When I do this, it will be evaluated like this.
Integer, yes.
Exactly. So this is the same as this. So it won't be creating a new tuple and assigning the tuple to A. It will just assign A as the integer or whatever value we have right here. Because it then mistakes this as tuple assignment. So how Python is made is that to create a tuple with one value, we do the same, just put this extra comma right here. Then Python will understand, okay, this is not tuple assignment. This is an actual tuple being assigned to a variable. So now if I go return A, we have 10 comma in braces. Okay, everyone.
Yes.
Now, deleting a variable. multiple assignment with string. Yeah, we can do that as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's say a comma right, a comma b equals x5. What? Okay, so quick thing.
A equals to x, b equals to y.
Exactly. So this type of assignment actually on the RHS expects iterables. So on the RHS should be any iterable, right? On the RHS should be any iterable, and on the LHS we should have the same amount of variables as the number of values in the iterable. So strings are iterables, right? Everyone, we can do the for loop on a string, right? Correct? Everyone knows this. And so are lists, so are tuples, right? So if I do a comma, so now if I try to print a, I'll get an x, and if I try to print or return b, I'll get a y. A which was assigned to, so x being assigned to a and y being assigned to b. If I do a comma b with the list as well, 10 comma 20, then a will become 10 and b will become 20. This is fine as well. Same goes for tuples, we all know. What if okay, so there was a question, right? There was a doubt, which was multiple. Okay, so with 1 2 3 4, right? So if I do a comma b with 1 2 3 4, this will actually throw an error.
Too many values to unpack.
Why? Because here we have basically four values in this iterable, and here we only have two containers, right? We only have two variables to store them. So this will throw an error. Why? Because it says too many values to unpack. We have four values right here, and we only have two containers. What will be fine? 1 4 is fine because a will become 1 and b will become 4. Now same goes for this case. If we had a list which had three values, that would have been a problem. A list with one value itself would have been a problem as well. If I do a comma b equals, let's say, 10, that is also a problem. Not enough values to unpack, meaning in the RHS and the LHS we need to have the same amount of values. Okay, and the number of variables, that should be the number of values in the iterable. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now moving to the next part, which is del. Okay, so I actually gave you a quick demonstration of del itself. So del is just to delete a variable, very simple. If you want any variable to be gone from Python's memory, just do del and that variable. So currently, if I, let's say, a and b, right? So a is currently 1 and b is 4, right? A is a comma b are 1 comma 4. I can just go do del a comma b, and they'll be gone. They're gone now. I can do del s and cos2 will be gone. Del s and s is now nothing. Clear, everyone? Del, simple, quick and simple. Shorthand operators, right? These are basically shortcuts, right? If you want to add, let's say, 10 to a variable, a is 10. You want to add 10 to a itself, then we could either do a equals a plus 10. It will evaluate the RHS and will put in the LHS, right? This part gets evaluated and it gets put here. So 10 plus 10 will be 20, and 20 will be stored in A. Sorry. Yeah, correct. Okay. So this whole thing can be collapsed into plus equals. So A plus equals 10 is the same as A equals A plus 10. These two are the same thing. Clear, everyone? And the same goes for minus equals to. Okay, minus equals to is same as this, a equals a minus 10, or you can write a minus equals 10. That's fine. Same as multiply equals, right? And same as divide equals. The next thing which we have is the in operator, correct? This, as the definition says, is x in y. If we want to check if x is in y, we simply use this English syntax IT in IIT Madras. So if I just do A, B, C, please move. Okay. If I do A, B, C in A, B, C, D, E, this will give me true because yes, A, B, C is in A, B, C, D, E. Fine. Make sure you, so keep in mind that BCA, BCA, so is ABC in BCA? Is ABC
Yes.
in BCADE? Well,
Yes. Yes.
it, yeah, intuitively we can say that yes, A is here, A is here too, B is here, B is here too, C is here, C is here too, but that's not how Python works. Python compares the whole string. Is the whole string as it is right in the LHS? Is the whole string a part of RHS or not? So if you see this exact sequence ABC is not in BCADE, so this will give me false. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we can even use this to compare the elements inside lists, right? We can do if is A B C, or let's say is 10 in 1 comma 2 comma 3 false because 10 is not in the list. I can do, but if I do 1 in list, that will be true because yes, 1 is in the list.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me,
Yeah,
sir. Statement ABC in BCADE. So ABC is A and B and C are.
yeah, that's what I said. Na, see,
Yes, yes.
uh, कि Python will compare the whole string. It will not compare individually.
Oh, अच्छा, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so it will check that is exactly ABC. So for example, if I say uh, cat in uh, let's say here we have like this, then we have a C and then we have a T, right? So technically, yes, C is right here, right? A is right here and T is right here, right? Technically it's true, but is cat present in this gibberish? No, right?
In the combined and the same order it wants, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It wants the same string to be the part of the other string.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes. So here as well, 10 was not in the list, 1 was not in the list, 1 was in the list, so we got true. This can work on tuples as well, so we can do 1 in, let's say, 1 comma 2 comma 3. Sorry, 1 comma 2 comma 3. And that's true. And yeah, that's basically it. This can actually even work on dictionaries, and it will compare using the keys of the dictionaries. So if I do 1 in, we had a dictionary right earlier. What was it named? Okay, so let me copy this dictionary, right? So when I do this now, it will check through the keys. Is 1 a key in the dictionary? And currently in our dictionary, yes, 1 is a key, right? So if I do enter, we'll get a true. So this is being compared to the keys of the dictionary, not the values. If I do 2, it will give me true again. But if I do 3, because 3 is not a key in that dictionary, I get false. And to prove that it's going to the keys, I'll do okay. Is okay in the dictionary? No. Okay is there, but it's present as a value. So that's why it's not, it's false because in compares the keys when we are working with the dictionary. So 3 false, 2 true, 1 true. Understood everyone?
Yes. For taking values, we have to write dot d dot values.
Okay. So okay, we have a doubt by Swati. s equals 5 and 2 or 3, it prints type of s as class int. Why? To understand this, okay, so what the Swati Khan code says, what is this? Okay, s equals 5 and 2 or 3. So if you check s, what s is set to 2. That's why when you do a class of int, we get integer. Now, how does this work? So let me explain another topic in Python called short circuiting. This is what we can use to basically, so this is another use of the logical operators and or mainly. Okay, so when let's say we do 1 and 2 and 3, when we are using and between the values, what this does is it checks for truthy or falsy values, meaning truthy and falsy meaning those values for which the bool function gives either true or false, right? So it will check if the first value is true or truthy or falsy, the second value is it truthy or falsy, third value is it truthy or falsy, the fourth value is it truthy or falsy, and depending on that it will give us a value from these four values, the 5 values or whatever we have. Let's say we have 4 values right here. Currently the output will be 4, and if I do the same thing with the or operator, if I do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, I'll get 1 as the answer. Now I'll explain why this happens.
Sir, in first case, it will return last truthy value and and first falsy value if there is any. Or in the second
Exactly.
case,
So
it will
yeah, I'm
return.
getting to that, right? So, and when we are short circuiting using the and operator, and all the way, right? How it works is and returns as sorry, what's your name?
Praveen.
Praveen. As Praveen said, and returns the first falsy value, and if no falsy values, we get the last one. I'm sorry, let me just rotate this, right? Right. So, and how it works, it always gives the first, either the first falsy value in the whole sequence, and if there is no falsy value, it will give you the last value. So if you look right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, when we do the bool of 1, when we do the bool of 2, when we do the bool of 3 or 4, we'll get true, correct? So there are no falsy values right here, so we get 4 as the output. Or on the other hand, is basically the opposite of and in this case. It will return the first truthy value it encounters, and if we don't have any truthy value in a sequence, it will give me the last value. So and gives you the first falsy value, or gives us the first truthy value, and if in both cases, if the condition is not met, then they give you the last value. So here and did not find any falsy value, so it gave us 4. Here or found that the first value is the truthy value, so it just returned that to us. So now, for example, if I do 0 or 10, I'll get 10. If I do 0 and 10, I'll get 0. So here the first truthy value was 10. Here the first falsy value was 0, right? So it saw what's false and it returned it to us. And or gives us the first falsy value. Sorry, the first or gives us the first truthy value. Now moving on to this one, Swati's question. S is set to 2. It actually works in that order. How it works: first this will be evaluated. Okay, so if I just write it in the notebook, 5 and 2 or 3, what Python will do is it will evaluate this, it will get a result, let's say x, and then it will do x or 3. That's how it works. So this will be evaluated first, and then it will use the OR short circuiting on x and then 3. So if I go through what happens, this is AND, right?
Yes.
AND gives us the first falsy value, and since there is no falsy value, right, we have 5 and we have 2, right? So it will return 2. So x becomes 2. Now in case of OR, it returns us the first truthy value, right? OR returns the truthy value, meaning if you compare 2 and 3, then 2 comes first and it sees that okay, 2 is actually a truthy value, so I'll just go ahead and return that. So your final answer actually ends up becoming 2, which is an integer. Swati, is it clear now why this happens?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
But 2 is int and 3 is string. Is it valid?
Yeah, it is valid. So or and not, they don't compare the data types as such. They only check is it evaluating as true or is it evaluating as false. They only check this. So if I, let's say, do bool of, let's say, 2, right, I'll get a true. And if I do the bool of, let's say, the string 3, I'll get a true as well. Instead, if I do a bool of, let's say, an empty string, I'll get false. If I do the bool of 0, I'll get false. Bool of false is false as well, right? So when we are doing this short circuiting thing using the operators, they only consider the boolean value of whatever we have. They don't consider the data type. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
And
sir.
yeah, exactly. And if people okay, I'll explain what truthy values are and what falsy values are as well. A bit late for that now. Should have explained earlier. So truthy and falsy values. These are values for which the bool function returns true. Let's say we have x, right? So bool of x will be true. For the falsy values, bool of x gives us false. And let me tell you a few falsy values, right? An empty string is false. 0 is falsy. That an empty list is also a falsy value. So if I do bool of, let's say, an empty list, it's false. Bool of an empty tuple, it's false. Bool itself with nothing inside is false. But bool with a space, right? Here we had, let's say, bool with a space is true, and bool with an empty string is false. See, there's a difference. This has a space right here. This has nothing in between. So space is actually counted as something, and it evaluates to true, and an empty string is actually the one with false value. 0 is the false one, and bool of negative numbers is also true, because yes, negative numbers are not false, they are actual values, they have some value, that's why the bool function is returning true. Understood everyone? True and false values and short circuiting.
Excuse me, sir. What is the output of 5 and 2? What will be the output of this?
5 and 2, right?
Yeah.
See, it will not check which is bigger, which is smaller. It will not check what data type. 5 and 2, so we have the and in between, and gives us the first falsy value. And if there are no falsy values, then we get the last one. Okay. So if the condition of truthy values or falsy values, if they are not met, then both and or they give us the last value. So here there was no false value, right? 5 and 2 both evaluated true, so we got 2 as the answer because that's the last thing. Here in case of 2 or 3, because or gives the first truthy value, and it found that yeah, 2 is actually a truthy value, so it gave us that. And if I just do, let's say, 10 and 0 and let's say true, right? Here remembering again, and gives us the first falsy value. The first falsy value right here is 0, correct? 0 is falsy. If I press enter, I'll get 0 as the answer. If I exchange it with or, then I'll get 10 as the answer, because 10 is the first truthy value right here.
Okay.
Understood?
Understood.
And if you do a combination of these now, then go from left to right. Go from left to right and doing this. Basically expanding finding the value of one pair and then using the value in the next pair. So let's say if we have 4 values, right? 5 and 2, or let's say, okay, 5 and 2 or 3 and let's say 0. We still get a 2. What is the order in this which is working? So what could be the order? Let's say if I do, instead of 0, I do a 0 here, so I get a 0. Okay, right? And if I do false, I get false as the answer. So again, if I do 0 and 2, I'll get 0, correct? Because 0 is the falsy value. I got 0 from here, so let me just copy this, right? Take a screenshot, explain right here. Okay, bring it down, come down. But what happened? So first this will be evaluated. 0 and 2 becomes 0. Then 0 or 3 will be evaluated. 0 or 3. And the first truthy value here is nothing, right? So the last value is returned, because that's fine. 3 is the first truthy value, so we get 3 from here, the string 3. And then we have 3 and false, correct? And since and returns the first falsy value, it will give us false as the answer. That is the our answer, and that's what we get right here. So it's comparing pairwise. So this pair, then the answer of that with this pair, right? And the answer of that with the final pair. Understood everyone? Okay. Thank you for raising this topic, Swati. We got into this and we covered it. Now, moving ahead with chaining operators, right? If we want to check if x is between 1 or 6, I can just go ahead and do 1 smaller than x smaller than 6. This will work. Python has no problem when you do that. Is x smaller than twice of x smaller than thrice of x being greater than 4 times of x? This will evaluate to false. Why? Because 3 times x cannot be greater than 4 times x, right? If x is 5, this will be false. Simple chaining of operators. Is there any doubt in chaining of operators? Anyone? Right. Okay. So escape characters. We have strings, correct? Let's say I have the string called what is your name. The YouTube link for this lecture. So there you all have it, the YouTube link for this lecture. I'll pin it. And going back to the question, sorry. Yeah, you're welcome. Now, yeah, so I have this string, right? What is your name? That's fine. But what if I want to write this? What's your name? This apostrophe, or you could say this single quote, will then basically conflict with the other single quote. So if I do go ahead and try to print this, we'll find a problem, because then Python is thinking that okay, this is the string, and what's this? This some Python does not know what to do with this. So to avoid that, what we can do is either in place of these codes, we can just use the other codes, so that these two form a pair, and this one is the isolated one. Fine. What's your name? Correct. Or what we can do, go ahead and do is just tell Python to don't use this as my escape. Sorry, am I not audible? People, am I audible or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the student was right. Vaishali. So you should try reloading the page. Okay. Moving ahead. What's your name? So if we want the apostrophe to be interpreted as an apostrophe and not as the uh, pair, right? The single quote pair for strings, then we can just put a backslash before the apostrophe. And what this does, it tells Python that whatever comes after this needs to be escaped. Do not use that as the syntax, use that as text. And in Python we have backslash quotes to escape the quote. So now this is taken as a string and not as the end quote. And same can be done with the double quote as well. And same can be now if we want to add an enter character, right? Let's say I want to type something like a multi-line. If I want to print something in multi-lines, what I can go ahead and do is I can just put a backslash n wherever we want and enter on a new line, and that is then evaluated as an enter character, and then we get this as an answer. And if you want a tab, right? Let's say if you want a tab, then backslash t gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We got 6 spaces right here where we had the backslash t. These are ways of escaping the character characters. Now going to the cheat sheet. Going forward, we have multi-line strings. I already cleared, right? Using the triple quotes to write, give multiple lines of strings as an input, right, to a variable or even a variable. Rules, exactly. Rules for Python variables. Variables must start with a letter or an underscore and can be followed by letters, digits, underscores. They are case sensitive and cannot use Python reserved keywords. As I said, keywords, for example, for, while, and others, right? These are not allowed so to be variables in Python. Now we have string methods. So currently we are at, let's see. Okay, we are at week 2 right now. String methods, going through these. So there are quite a few. I'll go through one by one, give an example of each one. Let me open this. Yeah. These are few of the methods, right? There are actually many more, if I remember correctly. So let me actually see how many we have. See, string methods are basically predefined functions, or you could say methods even, which we can run on any given string to achieve some other output. So for example, if I do, to convert a string, let's say I have my string, right, s equals my string is a good string. Is everyone else able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
So okay, so everyone speak for once, and Vaishali, are you
Audible
able
your
to,
voice, sir.
right? Is Vaishali, is everyone else in the meet able to, so sorry, are you able to hear, listen to everyone else except for me? Am I the only one not audible? Wait. Right, we need to check now. So for once, check if the whole class. Okay. Okay. Same for YouTube. So if it's same for YouTube, if she can't hear us on YouTube as well, and she can't hear us on here as well, so it must be a problem in a system. If
No, sir, you're audible, sir.
yeah, so I am audible, right? So okay. Okay, so am I audible now, Vaishali? Right? Okay, fine. Okay, let's continue the class. Where were we? We were at, yeah, string methods. So going through the string methods, right? Lower, if I do s, let's say, okay, let me change a few things, right? tri, and I'll just go ahead and make this into capital A, right? And then some capital letters here. Okay, so I have s, and let me have a dot here as well in the middle. Okay, and then let me have a dash here and a dash here. Okay, now as dot lower will take the whole string and convert everything into lowercase. As dot lower, everything is now lowercase. See, everything which we had in uppercase is gone. As dot upper does the opposite, converts everything into the uppercase. Okay, as dot capitalize, what it does is it takes only the first letter of the whole string. The whole string, only the first letter will be capitalized. So as dot capitalize, only the first letter was capitalized, and whatever was greater, right, whatever was in capital, it's converted to small case. Notice this too, only the first letter is capitalized and everything has been reduced. So originally my string was this, right? S is this, and s dot capitalize is this. Everything capital gone to small, and the first letter then capitalized. S dot title, make sure that only the first letter of every word is capital. So in this case, M will be capital, I will become capital, A, G, and S will become capital. So if I again clear this and do S, this is S. If I do S dot title, I'll get M, A, I, A, G, and S. Only these things as the capital ones. Okay, make sure. Okay, also the dashes are treated. So everything after dash, it's treated as a new word. In Python, that's how it's taking it. So that's how we'll notice and move on. Every new word, whichever it sees, it will convert its first letter to capital, and everything which else is capital, it will convert it to smaller again. Only the first letter of each word. Swap case. So again, if I show you what S is, right? This is S. Swap case will convert small to big and big to small. So S dot swap case. My was capitalized. ASDJ they convert to small. TR converted to big, and same goes for the whole string. Everything which was small, it's now big, and everything which was big, it's now small. Is lower. So these they give us these ones as well. So is upper, is lower, is title, is digit, is alpha, is num. What they give us? They give us Boolean values as the output. They either give true or they give false. And what they do is explained in their name itself. Is lower will check if the whole string is lowercase or not. Is upper will check is if the whole string is uppercase or not. Is title will check if the whole string is title case or not, right? Title case, this one. And same goes for is digit. It will check if the whole strings is made up of digits or not. So if I just give you a quick example, let's say I have one, let's say I have ABC, right? If I do ABC dot is lower, because everything currently is in the lower case in ABC, right? This will return true. If I do change even B to uppercase, it will be false because it requires the whole string to be in lowercase. Same goes for is upper. Is upper will check for uppercase if everything is uppercase or not. ABC only B is uppercase, so it fails. But if everything was in uppercase, it would have given us true. Is title, let's say if I have s dot title, right? If I do s dot title dot, and I can even chain these methods. Because also know that I can put one method after the other. So what will happen if I do s dot title? It will give me in title case, correct? I can do s dot title dot is title as well. So this is valid Python. It will evaluate this part and then, which is this part, and then it will use this method on this part. So because s dot title converts everything to title case, and then is title checks if everything is in title case or not, here we will get a true. If I did that on only s, we get a false, because yes, s is not in title case. S dot title is the title case. Up until here, any confusion or any doubt, anyone? Okay, yeah, cheat sheet.
No, sir.
Okay, going here you have it, the cheat sheet link. I'll send it to everyone and pin it. The cheat sheet and the Python textbook too. These are very good things, resources, right, which you should go through before the exam. Get a quick revision, right, which are what we are currently doing, same thing. Moving back to the cheat sheet. Is digit, is alpha, is num. Okay, same thing. Is digit checks if everything is a digit or not. If there's anything alphabetical, it will return false. If it needs that everything in the string is a digit. So going to the example again. Currently s is this, right? We have s right here. If I do s dot is digit, it will be false. If I do 1 2 3 4 5 dot is digit, it will be true. If I add even a single underscore or a single a, it will be false. Okay, so everything should be a digit for this to be true. Is alpha, same thing. Is alpha requires everything to be only alphabets. If there's any single special character or any single digit, it will become false. So if I do s dot is alpha, what should I get as the answer? I'll get a false. Why? Because we have these dashes right here. These dashes are not allowed. I'll get a false. If I, let's say, did instead a b c dot is alpha, that's fine, that's true. If I put a space, that's false. So spaces are not allowed as well. Remember, in digit, in is digit, in is alpha, in is alnum, spaces are not allowed. They will give you a false. Sorry, in is digit or in is alpha, they'll give you a false. In is alnum, will check. So ABC space is alpha, false. ABC1, even though we have a majority of alphabets right here and there's only one digit, it will still be false. Sorry, is alpha. Okay, spelling mistake, alpha, false, because we have this digit here. If I put underscore, it will be false. If I want to check that if something is alpha plus numeric or any special characters which are allowed, right? Then we have the is alnum. So if I do A, B, C, right, 1, 2, 3, add star, percentage even, and write this, right? And do dot is ALNUM. Okay, we get a false. We remove the percentage. We still get false. Meaning it only allows alphabets and numbers. No special characters are allowed. Okay. Is alnum means is alphanumeric, only checks for alphabet, only allows alphabets and numbers. So spaces right here as well, they are not allowed. Spaces give us a false in if is alnum. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Everyone, right? Making sure that everyone has no doubts. Okay. Good to hear. What else? Okay, so we have a few methods as well, right? Count. Okay, if you want to count a number of occurrences of a specified value in a string, you can do that with string.count. So let's say a new string, right? Let's say s2 is a b b c c c d, right? If I want to count the number of a's present here, I'll do s2 dot count of a, and it will give me that there are 5 a's. Same I can do with b, same I can do with c, and same I can do with d. And if I do, let's say, e, there are no e's in s2, so I get 0. What if I want to count? We can, and I can not only do with a, I also do this with ab. So if we see, we have one ab, right? So if I do s2 dot count ab, it will count this ab and it will return. Clear? Find an ab and return. So if I, for example, write s3, right, equals cat, cat, and cat, and if I do s3 dot count cat, we have 3 cats written right here, so it will count and it will give me the answer 3 cats in s3. What if I have a, let's see, I have s4 equals a. I have 5 a's, right? What if I try to count double a pair? Let's see. If I do s4 dot count double a, now will it take this as one pair and this as the other pair and this as no pair, or will it do this as one pair, then this as one pair, and this as one pair, and this as one pair? So will we get 4 as the answer, or will we get 2 as the answer?
So 2, I think.
Exactly. So once a pair is counted, it's not counted again. It's not counted. It's not considered for the next iteration. So my question exactly what was, if I have, let's say, a, and a. If I do s4 dot count of double a, right, then what will I get? Do I get this as a pair, then this as a pair, and then this as a pair, and this as a pair? Do I get 4 pairs, or do I get 2 pairs and then one single when I'm counting double a's? So the answer is that this is how Python works, not this. Okay, it will take each pair and then it won't consider the same part of the pair for the next counting purposes. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, anyone in doubt? Okay, so moving ahead, we have index. So it will give you the starting index, right? Searches the string for a specified value and returns the position of where it was found. So let's say I want to find a in s4. That will be a good question, right? s4 dot index of a. Where is a in s4? Will I get one value? Do I get multiple values? So the answer is one value. It will tell you about the first occurrence of that character. So if I, let's say, have s5, let's say, we have s is cat, right? So if I check for where is t, right? st dot count. So st dot index of t. So where is the first time t was encountered? It was encountered at position 2, right? 0, 1,
Yes.
and 2. So I'll get 2 as the answer. So s3 dot count t, and right, correct. We have 3 as the answer. Sorry.
So you have find the index.
Oh, sorry. Oh, exactly. So the wrong method. Sorry, index. Right. If I check for the index, then yeah, t was found first at the second index of S3. It will ignore the other indices. Okay. We can even replace values from a string. Now this, okay, something about this. Let's say we have a cat, right? We have cat. So if I do s3 dot replace small c with capital C, all the small c's in the strings are replaced with the capital string of capital C, and the new string is returned. Also know that any of these, they are not changing the old string. Okay, they are methods. They are not changing the old string. They are returning a new string always. Okay, everyone. They are not changing the old string. They are returning a new string. And now if I try to replace cat itself in S3 with, let's say, dog, we'll get 3 dogs because we had 3 cats. Understood how replace works? The string, then the replace method, and replacing x with y. Strip, L strip, R strip. Strip or L strip or R strip, what they do is they remove a character from either the right side or the left side or both sides of a string. So for example, if we have, yeah, taking Python, x equals Python is right. So x equals dash 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 Python dash 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 dash, and let's say we have y equals space Python space. If I do x dot strip, I'll get the same string back. But if I do y dot strip, I'll get Python. Why? Strip by default removes the spaces. It removes the extra spaces. But we can specify what we want to remove. So in the case of x, if we want to remove the dashes, we can just tell Python that, okay, remove the dashes, don't touch the spaces, remove the dashes from the leftmost or the rightmost part. Always make sure that whatever you want to remove is actually at the leftmost part. So currently I just told it to remove the dashes from the leftmost and the rightmost part. It went ahead and did that. If I, let's say, did nothing, that will return the same string. And let's say if I have y or z, right, I'll make z something else. Z equals, and if I put a space right here, now if I do z dot strip, the space was not removed. Why? Because it's not at the rightmost part, it's between two values, so that is ignored. Okay, always see, anything between two values is ignored. Whatever you want to remove, it should be either rightmost or the leftmost. And if that's the case,
So,
yeah,
I can continue. You can continue, then I will ask my question.
yeah, sure. So, and same goes for here as well, right? The extra spaces were removed by strip. Y dot strip gives us only Python. Now, yeah, go ahead. Without with your doubt.
If we have suppose if we have a variable y,
Yeah,
and in y there is a character, um, which after some new lines there is a character like Python, new lines and Python.
New line and Python, right?
Yeah. So will it also remove the new line characters?
Good question. So let's see y1 dot strip. So let's see, y1 is currently new line Python, correct?
Yes, sir.
So y1 dot strip, and yes, by default, the spaces and the new lines which are at the either of ends will be removed. Okay, so
Okay.
any new line, let's say we have y1 equals now Python, enter C, enter Java, right? And then we have another new line, and then we have these three, right? Now if I do the strip on y1, the middle new lines, right, these ones, they have not been removed. Only the last one, right, this one has been removed, this one is there, this one is still there, this one has been removed, and if there was something right here, it would have been removed as well. So only the rightmost and the leftmost new lines or spaces are removed, and the middle ones are untouched. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Everybody?
One question, sir.
Yeah.
In this replace statement, you are saying it is not changing, but it is returning the whole list. Whole statement.
No. It's not changing the old string. It is returning a new string.
New string. That means the new string will occupy the different.
No. Yeah. So yeah, please continue. Sorry, once again.
It new string occupies the new memory location. That means.
Yeah, exactly. It's a new thing. The old thing is left untouched. So if I do a equals, let's say hello, right? And even in replace or anything right here, I was talking about everything right here. So if I do a dot title, for example, right, I did a dot title, I got this, but a is still unchanged, a is still hello. Okay, so nothing happens to a, whatever we get, it's something new to be used. So I can put b equals a dot title, and b will be the new value, and a remains the same. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, now moving forward. L strip and R strip. So strip works for both the sides at one time, right? Strip will be removing it from the left side and the right side as well. Whatever you specify or whatever the new lines are, whatever the spaces are, right? If you specify something, then that. If you don't specify, then it will only remove the. Yeah, if you don't specify, it will only remove the spaces and the new lines from the left and right. If you do L strip or R strip, L means left strip and R means right strip. So only those parts will be removed. It will only work on the right part either, or only on the left part. Understood, everyone?
Yes.
On the left or the right. Starts with and ends with they give a true or false output, and they check if our string is starting with a value or not, or ending with something or not. So in case of a, we have hello. If I do a dot starts with h, it will be true. Starts with he, that will be true as well. Okay, make sure it can take long string as well. It starts with hel. Yeah, of course, hello does start with hel. But if I do e, it's wrong, because hello starts with he, not e. And same goes for a dot ends with. So I can just type ends with sorry, okay, double s. Let me fix that. Yeah, ends with e. No, hello ends with an o, right? So if I do o, it will be true. LO will be true as well, because if you say A, it ends with LO or double LO, right? That will be true as well. Understood, everyone? It starts with and ends with. Any doubt up until here?
No, sir.
No doubts. Okay, okay. So whatever methods we just used, they are useful methods, right? You can, for sure, if you memorize all of them, it's absolutely like that will be very useful to you. And by the time you, if you use Python enough, you will actually end up memorizing them yourselves. So you will basically, that will happen automatically if you code enough in Python. I wanted to say something, I forgot. Yeah, quick tip for the OPPs, right? For example, you want to manipulate a string, right? You want to do something with a string, you want to use a method. You remember that, yeah, I studied the method, but I can't find its name. In the OPPs, what you should do. So up until now, or even now, I think you will get these three options in your OPP: the Python tutor, the standard notebook, and the Pyodite terminal. Now, if you
Yes.
go to the Pyodite terminal, it's actually a very useful tool. Uh, yeah, so quiz 1 syllabus is weeks. Everyone here, listen to me. Quiz 1 syllabus is weeks 1 to 4. OPP 1 syllabus is weeks 1 to 5. And the week 6 is just a practice week, right? So there's no new content in week 6. So for OPP, we have weeks 1 to 5. And for quiz 1, we have weeks 1 to 4. Now, in exam, you won't need to write the code here. There is no manual coding to be done in the exam. The exams will be, the questions in the exams will be like your grade assignments, and the mock which has been released, if I'm not wrong. Okay, the mock hasn't been released yet, but the exam questions will be the same, in the same pattern as your grade assignments. Everyone, okay?
Yes.
Uh, Now, what else? So yeah, I was talking about the Pyodite terminal. So basically, you have your interpreter, Python interpreter. You have that handy in your OPPs as well. In your OPPs, the UI is the same basically. You will have the question, you will have the test cases, and then you will have the whatever is passing and what's failing, and you will have these three options as well. So you can go ahead and open this Pyodite terminal, and let's say you want to know about what string methods we had, right?
Help.
You can just basically do, you can, what you can do is use the help function in the Pyodite terminal. If you do help and str data type, right, it will give you everything related to the string data type. R strip, right, split, we had R split, we had, let's say, many things which we covered. And L strip, right, is upper, is title, is lower, right, many things you can see, is digit. So help of that data type will give you everything which you can do with that data type. Even help for int works as well. And okay, sorry, help for int, yes, it will give you anything, many things which you can do with integers. Same goes with help list, and same goes with help dict. So it will give you the methods which each data type has. Okay, everyone. So if in the OPP you forget something, you can just go to the Pyodite terminal and figure it out.
Sir,
Yes.
is it allowed to change the tab during the examination?
So in the OPPs, there will be something like a counter which will keep count of how many times you have changed your tabs,
Yes, sir.
and your screen will be recorded as well. So basically, if so doing this, any going to any three of these is allowed,
Okay.
but anything else is not allowed. Okay. Clear?
By the terminal is the inside the tab, na? It is not the outside, so it should not be counted. I think this is inside given.
Yeah,
It's
this
not
is given.
outside.
It will be, so the counter will go up, but you will not face anything serious, anything. They will not give you any punishment because this is for you to use. This is allowed to use. Okay.
During the examination, what they are judging actually?
The
They
code.
are checking actually.
If your code passes the cases or not, just like your GRPS. During the OPPs, you will be writing code,
Yes.
and these test cases, there will be test cases. So the UI is the same. You have the same interface basically.
Yes.
So whatever is being checked here, the same thing. That's how the OPPs work as well.
And
The
what
code,
and what we are not allowed to do?
you are not allowed to do anything except the exam, and except so it is an actual exam, but you have some help. That's it. You are allowed to use these three only. Okay, you are not allowed to change windows, and you are not allowed to have anything on your desk. So whatever the guidelines of an exam is, you're not allowed to break the code of conduct of an exam. No changing tabs, no changing windows, right? But you can use these three.
And for I have seen that it has been written that you should not use your hand. You should always your hand should be on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
2 hours, 3 hours. Is it possible?
Yeah,
uh,
it's possible. Yeah.
yeah, it is possible. So for 2 hours, you can manage that. Okay, just make sure that your hands are always visible to the camera, and both the cameras. Okay.
Okay. Is it that means if it is visible, then it's okay.
Yeah, it should be visible what your hands are doing, and and very important that, yeah, make sure that they are at the desk, not like near your ear or something, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so today's session, I'll stop streaming right now, and the session, while using replication operator, RHS of okay, one out, right? Let's take it. Replication, string replication, everyone. So, right, if I have a as a string, or let's say ABC, if I want to print three ABCs, I can just do ABC times 3, or I can do 3 times ABC as well. Both will give me ABC repeated thrice. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Shreya. Okay, yeah, Shreya. So the session ends. Today's session ends right here, everyone. And the next TA, the next session will continue from here, right? I think it should continue from here. So we are done until week 2. The revision is done. And then we have if else. Okay, if else is remaining and import is remaining in week 2 for the revision. But for today's session, I think this much is fine enough. Also,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, and we have the feedback form for the TA sessions and the mentor sessions, whichever you are taking. If you want anything, right? If you have any recommendations, any feedback regarding TA sessions, go and fill this form. We read these and we try to implement those. Okay, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so share meant float values. Yeah, so actually float values won't work. Okay, 3.0 times ABC, it won't work. You need, so yeah, it should be an integer. Right. So stop streaming right now. And the session ends, everyone. I will be leaving